Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. We have a fun chat today. We are going to be chatting about Explora Journeys. So, if you have an upcoming cruise with Explora, or you're just curious what this is all about, we are going to have a little chat today about what the experience was like. It was quite interesting, and it's a little bit of a more expensive cruise line, but, that said, the inclusions that you get far outweigh what you would get on any, sort of regular cruise line. So we're gonna chat about that today. But first off, I am curious, for where your next trip is, so let me know. I'm not really sure. I just sent in my passport for renewal yesterday, and hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, it will be back soon. Hopefully, within a week or so, they suggest. Although it is technically, they say 10 to 20 business days. But for us Canadians, we're pretty lucky in that they process it quite quickly. And friends of mine just put their passport renewal in, and they got theirs back in about 10 days. So I'm hopeful that I get to experience something similar in terms of speed and efficiency. Um, Good morning, Tammy. How are you? It's quite cold here today. Sunny, blindingly sunny, but it is chilly. It's minus, well, what is it now? -5. It was -8 Celsius earlier. But we are heading in a couple of days into significantly warmer weather. We're going to be like +8, +11 Celsius again, but with rain. So it's a trade-off, right? You either have beautiful sunny weather, but it's freezing cold. And it doesn't normally get this cold, I should say, on the West Coast. If you're ever planning a trip to Vancouver, um, usually it's pretty comfortable year round. Soccer fields are pretty much open year round. They do close on occasion, but outdoor soccer is a year round thing for us out here. And yeah, so pretty easy. It did snow last weekend, of course, when I was trying to fly home. You heard about that debacle. Uh, what would normally be a 12-hour journey ended up being 34, I think it was for me, and 43 for my husband. So, bit of a gong show. Yes, Tammy is off to Dreams in Mazatlan, the new, Dreams, was it Esmeralda? No, that's the one in, Miches in Punta Cana. Estrella, Dreams Estrella, Estrella Del Mar. So I am curious to hear what she thinks of that one. I might have to join her in Mazatlan, or I might be in Cabo. I'm not really sure. But as long as I get my passport sometime soon, I'll be going somewhere. I know that much. All right. So today I have a bunch of photos for you. So it's not just going to be my talking head. Yes, Estrella, I guess it would be Estrella, double L would be the correct pronunciation on that, Estrella Del Mar, which is, I think, like paradise on the sea. Oh, Freddie, we were just talking about you. Hey, hello, hello. How are you? Um, Freddie is our sales rep for Playa Resorts, which is, the most of the Hyatt Ziva and Zilara resorts. Big, huge announcement, a multi-billion-dollar sale from Hyatt Inclusive Collection. Just put in an offer to purchase Playa Resorts. I have no idea. I have no predictions as to how that is going to go. But Freddie, we are all fingers crossed for you that everything works out really well for you. And hopefully you can help them with the transition to make sure that the high standards that you guys have set for Hyatt Ziva and Zilara resorts is continued. Um, so yeah, best of luck with that one. Also wanted to talk real quick before we get into Explora about some more news. Thank you, Angelo P, for the ongoing contributions to the channel. Angelo, of course, you know, we've chatted with him when he's been in Punta Cana. He joined me. Well, he didn't join me. He happened to be at Hyatt Vivid Grand Island last May, when I was also there. And so he had some of the insider scoop. Oh, Freddie, yeah. Yeah, exciting times. Exciting, interesting, scary, all of the above. But as I say, fingers crossed for you. So Angelo happened to be at the Hyatt Vivid Grand Island with me at the same time last year, and he was in the first walkthrough video that I did, where I ran into him in the buffet, first time ever meeting him, and he's been extremely informative in terms of what's happening, some of the insider scoops with some of the Hyatt Inclusive Collection resorts. So that's, you know, your dreams, secrets, Hyatt Vivid, Breathless, all of those kinds of resorts. And he was the first to give us the inside scoop that there is a brand new Hyatt Vivid heading for Punta Cana. And it has officially now been announced that this is going to be a, they purchased the Dreams Punta Cana resort, sorry, not Dreams, the Jewel Punta Cana resort. And that is going to become the new Hyatt Vivid. So this is in the Uvero Alto Beach area. So where I was just at in the Bavaro region, which is a little bit more south, a little bit closer to the airport. Uvero Alto is about another 15, 20 minutes drive, if I'm not mistaken, from the Bavaro area. So, I mean, I kind of walked to that area. It was right near the Hard Rock, which is at the beginning of Uvero Alto. But this one is going to be near Breathless. So if you look at a map and you look at where Breathless Punta Cana is, the new Hyatt Vivid is going to be very close to that. And we don't know when it's going to open, but what the announcement said is we're expecting sometime in 2025. So that's kind of exciting. So you know, hopefully we'll see some interesting developments from that. Jeremy, Wendy, I know you guys talked about chasing the Vivid openings, so let me know if you're going. I'd love to run into you guys again. There's a couple of great two couples that we ran into that were just super friendly and the nicest people you can imagine. So yeah. So exciting times. So we will talk more about that as we get more developments. And I'm going to do a video for this later this week or this weekend to tell you a little bit more about what you can expect in terms of restaurants and stuff like that, and a little bit more about the area where that property is going to be located. So moving on to Explora Journeys. So as I mentioned to you guys before, when we first signed up for this cruise, there were some interesting questions that they inquired about when before we even got on board. So there were about 8, I guess maybe more questions. So not just the usual, like, do you want a room with beds apart or beds together? And it's important to note that with Explora, you do not, I'll send a screenshot just so you can see what the room looks like. That's a better one. Okay, just give me a second here, multitasking. With Explora Journeys, it's just very similar actually to Dreams Resorts or Hyatt Ziva Zalara Resorts, wherein you select ahead of time what type of bedding you would like. In other words, it's part of the room description, if you will. Now you have to be a little bit trickier with Explora because a basic room is just a basic room. That said, you can, that said, no, I'm doing too many things at once. Sorry, guys. That said, you want to check what the room types are because there are only so many rooms that are a twin bed room. In other words, if you don't choose that room that says it's available for twin beds, you are definitely going to have just one bed in the room. And it's not like they can change it. It's not like a regular cruise ship cabin where they are a little bit more flexible with this stuff. So let me just get the picture for you. And the other thing I wanted to say is that even if you have, oh, come on, even if you have the twin beds set up, there's not much of a distance between the beds. So that can be kind of awkward. What we did, we learned from another YouTuber who was talking about sharing a cabin with a friend or relative or something, and they didn't necessarily want to be in each other's face. So what they did is they actually took the sofa cushion and placed it in between the two beds, to provide a little bit of almost like a pony wall, which is what Tammy and I were sharing a room, and that's what we did. Here's a picture of the room. You can see how close those two beds are. Now, they were kind of like a double bed. They were nice and spacious, but as you can see, it's almost like being in the same bed with another person. So, like I said, we grabbed one of the cushions from the sofa that was in the room, and we just jammed it in between the two beds, and that worked out pretty well. So yeah. But let me just share with you. So some of the questions I asked ahead of time to personalize your cabin. They asked what type of pillow type you wanted, whether it was soft, firm, or feather. They asked about the duvet, if you wanted feather, blanket, or hypoallergenic duvet. Bed type, you could choose firm or flexible, and by flexible they mean soft, because everybody's got a different type of bed that suits them better in terms of sleeping. For me, I prefer a firm bed, but other people like a softer bed. So yeah. They wanted to know what type of wine we wanted in the room, whether it was white or red. Fortunately, Tammy and I are both white wine, Chardonnay or Cab Sauvignon Blanc drinkers, so that worked out well. They also asked what other types of booze we wanted in the room. If we couldn't be bothered to either call room service and ask for a drink, or to walk it's a smaller ship. By comparison, I'd say, lengthwise, it's a lot shorter than some of the major cruise ships, and a lot shorter, height-wise, a lot less decks than some of the massive ships that were around us in some of the ports. So it was never that far from a bar, but nonetheless, they wanted you to be comfortable. So in the room, you had a choice of gin, vodka, rum, or whiskey. And the choices there were here. So Glenmorangie Scotch, Absolute Vodka, Jack Daniel's whiskey. Oh, so there's two kinds of whiskey. Pink Pepper Gin. Tammy, you'd have to talk on that one, what you thought of that. And then Bacardi Negro, the dark rum. And then there was also French white wine and a French red wine to enjoy. And so that was kind of nice to be able to, ask your cabin steward to bring to give you a bottle of wine in the room. And I was so impressed, which we didn't figure out, I think, until day 3 or 4, that every time our cabin steward came into our cabin to tidy things up or do a turn down service, she replaced there was an ice bucket in the room, and it was always in the freezer, and I never understood why until when I went to move it one time, because we had ice in the room to begin with when we had our welcome champagne. And I thought, oh, well, she's just making sure that we've got some ice there to keep everything cold. She was replacing the ice every time she came in the room. So morning, noon, or night, you had fresh ice in your cabin. So if you wanted to have a little room drink and sit on the gorgeous balcony, in either it was like a sofa chair or a table and chairs. So technically you could comfortably seat 3 on the balcony. You always had ice there to mix your own drink. So that was kind of nice. Where are we at? Angelo, good afternoon. Hello. How are you? You must have heard your ears buzzing because we were talking about you earlier, giving us the scoop on the new Hyatt Vivid coming to Punta Cana. Exciting stuff. Angelo just returned from California. Next trip is Cancun, back to the Hyatt Vivid. So it'll be interesting to hear what you think of that, and maybe we'll see if we can talk you into going live with us again, and doing a little walkthrough and just showing us what some of the changes are. I wonder if the Dreams side will be open by then. I think probably not, but you just never know. And then he's also going to Breathless Soul, which is, I only had a chance to stay there for, I think it was one night. It was supposed to be 2 nights, but then that stupid hurricane started coming towards us and threatened to move southbound. And so they moved us to Tulum. So I only got to stay one night there, but it's a nice techie resort, very gadgety, which I love. Apparently you could use your phone as your room key. You could use it for the TV control, the clicker, the remote control. I mean, this place was just over the top in terms of techie stuff, which I love. Okay, going back to where's our things here? Okay, going back to the room luxuries. So, what else did they ask us about? Mini bar. Did we want alcohol, or do we want alcohol removed from the room? Because there's a lot of people that travel that they just don't drink. So that was an option. We of course said, yeah, fill her up. Toiletries, scented or unscented ones. And I know for some people they can have a very strong sensitivity to smells. Personally, we both wanted to have the scented lotions and stuff like that. So that was quite nice. I really enjoyed the lotions that they had. It is a specific brand to Explora, shocker. And it was very nice. They had body lotion. They had a body wash, like soap. They had a shampoo and a separate conditioner. It is a really nice product. Like I said, it is made exclusively for Explora. You cannot buy it on Amazon. You cannot buy it retail, as far as my Google search revealed. Unlike some of the other chains, like the Pharmacopoeia that they have at the Hyatt Vivid, you can buy that on Amazon. So yeah, Explora, the Mandala Blue, BLU, is exclusive to Explora. But fun fact, we also found out that they have their own flour made for them. Like, seriously? Yeah, during the captain's talk, the hotel manager. So on a ship, it's kind of weird because they have the cruise ship cabins, and they also have the whole running the ship side of things, and then safety stuff and all that kind of thing. So anything to do with the passengers' guest cabins or the passenger experience, that's under what they call the hotel manager. And he was explaining that they wanted to have they wanted to have good bread on board the ship, and they wanted it to be light and fluffy. They didn't want people to feel overwhelmed by the bread. I thought I had a photo of it. No, it looks like I didn't put it in. Sorry, it's on my computer somewhere. Anyways, I am gonna still do a separate video on food and beverage for Explora, so stay tuned for that because, wow. I mean, one of the things that people said from the beginning, there was a post on one of the Explora Journeys groups that said, now that for those of you who've gone on Explora, what's something you wish you'd known ahead of time? Which I think is always a really great question because, it's that FOMO thing, fear of missing out, and also, wanting to make the most of it, get the absolute best value out of the cruise that you possibly can. And what a surprising number of people said is that they wish they'd lost 10 pounds before they got on the cruise because most of them gained quite a bit. The food was really, really good. Okay, got a couple of comments here. Oops, where did we go? There we go. Okay, Christine is saying Next trip is a long weekend in Orlando at the end of March. That'll be nice and sunny and warm for sure. Um, and Angela's saying, oh, he is happy to do a live stream. Cool. Well, we will definitely take you up on that. Um, yeah, that would be great to be able to showcase the resorts and show everybody what the updates are. Christine is hilarious. You commented on the wooden deck and how it hadn't been open that long and the fact that it needed to be repainted. I have seen different posts in the Facebook group 2 or 3 times that people have talked about that they just repainted it. So, obviously, it's a pretty soft wood, and obviously, it needs some pretty regular maintenance. They are repainting it on a regular basis, but it just seems like it was maybe not the best choice. I mean, that said, concrete can get really hot to walk on, so I think they kinda wanted to have something that would be a little bit more comfortable on the feet if you're walking from the pool to your lounge chair. But yeah, it was interesting on at the Hyatt Vivid to see um, that they are doing maintenance on it, so it's good. Um, oh, funny. Okay, so going back to our topics. So, what other cabin luxuries did we have here? We had, okay, so first off, they have this Dyson hair dryer. Um, I don't know if it was psychosomatic or what, but I felt like my hair felt different after a week of using this hair dryer. But it I mean, it was also a case of I didn't really know how it worked, and I guess I should have watched some YouTube videos ahead of time. It had a bunch of different settings. You had a hot setting, you had a cool setting, you had an ionic setting, something, I don't know. But I do know that that hairdryer retails in Costco on sale for about 450, 470. So it's not an inexpensive hairdryer. Certainly kicks butt on what you would normally find on a cruise ship or um, at a resort, that's for sure. I don't have a specific photo of the shower, but I want to say, hands down, this is the biggest cruise line shower I have ever seen in my life. I mean, you could stand arms spread lengthwise in the shower without worrying about touching the walls. Side to side, elbows up, you weren't hitting the walls. The side walls, like from the narrow point of perspective, it had a rainfall shower head, and it was just massive. And like I said, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, all 3 separate products, not an all-in-one kind of deal. The floor in the bathroom was heated. So, of course, we didn't need that. We were cruising in the Caribbean, but we had to try it. So, we did have it on, and it was quite nice, actually. This is what is this? Oh, that's the liquor that we had for the room. So you got the wine, the pink pepper gin, and the Absolute vodka. Oh, as well as these massive bottles of water. They didn't have plastic bottles of water available. If you wanted water, you could ask your cabin attendant, and these were refillable. Like they could wash these bottles and refill them, keep them sanitary, but also recycling, which I really liked. And of course, in this picture, you can see in the middle of the table, there are 2 water bottles, which they gave us to keep, and those can also be used to have water refilled throughout the ship. So that was quite nice, and we had a couple of snacks there under that glass uh, cloche. Um, so that was kind of nice to have just a little wee snack in the room. Should do that. Should do that. Okay. So now, go back to that. And now I think from here, what else did I want to say about the room? Anything? You couldn't hear anything from your neighbors. I know for sure we had people on either side of us, and one side was a nice, massive suite. But even on the balcony, you could rarely hear anybody. Then again, the ship could potentially hold 1,400 people. 14, yeah, 1,400 people. assuming every cabin that could be a triple occupancy cabin was at triple, and everyone that could be a quad cabin was filled with 4 people. Obviously, that's very rarely going to be the case. I mean, I think there was 6 kids on this cruise altogether. And they did say that they were restricting the occupancy to about 800 people total. And part of the reason for that was because they wanted to make sure that they were delivering the level of service that would be premium. There are 461 cabins on the ship, so you will hear it thrown around that there's a maximum of 922 people on the ship, but that is 922 if you're just counting adults. So like I said, you could have a cabin with 3 or even 4 people, so it could be a little bit more, but certainly there was never a lineup to get food. There was, no, that's not true. Some of the fancy restaurants did have, you're allowed to make 2 reservations to start. And so those ones that were busy did have them. And if you are in a super duper fancy suite, like a penthouse or something like that, you were allowed to make more than just the 2. So of course, those did get a little bit busy. We were able to go into Fil Rouge, the French restaurant, twice. Once was a reservation. The second time, we simply showed up and asked if they had a table. And they said, yep, no problem, and sat us immediately. So that was kind of cool. I'm going to talk about food in a little bit as well. So before we move on to that, anything else with the cabin? I think that was it. Oh, there was some way you could program the TV to use your phone, and you could also stream to the TV. More of an Android product. I think it was, I forget what kind of TV it was. But definitely that was something that you could do. And like I said, the minibar was restocked daily. And like I said, she would put fresh ice in the ice bucket in the fridge every day, twice a day. So that was pretty incredible. Okay, moving on. Pools and jacuzzis everywhere. So from the inside, there was oh, that's a different thing. Okay. Yeah, so there's this pool. This was at the back on that was the upper deck, I believe. And then there was also one on one of the lower decks, which you can't really tell. Obviously, it's an infinity pool, but it also had glass across the front. So it looked pretty cool from, looking at it from different angles. And not huge, not terribly huge, but deep enough and cool enough. But because it was cool, they also had various hot tubs. And this one was steaming. So if you were a little bit chilly this ship came from Barcelona. So when it did the transatlantic crossing, obviously it's not going to be super hot on all days. Might be warm on a few days, but not hot. And so, yeah, they did have some different options for hot tubs. So all in all, there were 4 pools, including one. Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay. So there was this one which had a retractable roof, and they also did movies under the stars, but it was silent movies under the stars. So they've got this big screen here by the main pool on the inside. When the roof is over, it is very, very warm, very muggy, humid in there. So that's something to consider. But if it's windy outside, then that's the best place to be because you're well protected from any coldness. What was kind of disappointing is that they didn't have anything playing on the TV during the day. They didn't even show like, overviews of like different locations or destinations that they would sail to or anything like that. It was purely the Explora Journeys thing, and then occasionally it would change to a different type of screen, but it really was never like movies or TV shows or even like silent trivia or anything, which I've seen on a lot of other ships. So, I mean, to a certain extent, that was a little bit disappointing because I think it could have been more useful, but their slogan is it's the Explora, it's the ocean state of mind. So they're really really pushing the whole wellness, mental relaxation kind of theme here. So, it's not like you're gonna have, um, rock videos and, so you'll see concerts on other cruise ships. You're not gonna see that on here. And that said, like I said, they did do movies under the stars on a couple of the nights. One night it was it was like Despicable Me or something like that. Um, which was more of a kid-themed movie, which I thought was odd considering there was only the 6 kids on board out of 800 odd people. But then they also did, The Trap, which is a recently released movie, thriller, interesting. And they did have popcorn as well. So we didn't wanna stay and watch the movie. I'd seen it before. My friend wanted to watch it right from the beginning. And so Tammy and I just grabbed some popcorn and took that back to the room. So that was a nice little treat. Um, but yeah, lots of pools and jacuzzis everywhere. Never a problem getting a seat. There is limited shade. So, that's the only thing that was a bit of a challenge. And this was from Explora I. They didn't apparently like the aesthetics of having a bunch of covered canopy areas, something to do with bad luck or something. I don't know where that stems from, but um, nonetheless, they listened to the feedback, and on Explora II, they did add more, covers over the canopies. Now, that said, somebody was just posting in the Facebook group this morning about it, and I did mention, I think it was deck 12 on one of the sides of the ship, that you were able to have a little bit more shade. Let me see. Yeah, well, I don't know if you can see it here. You can see where so you can see this raised area. That's actually a hot tub jacuzzi. And then just beyond that, where the sun is kind of brightest on the ocean, is where you can see a bunch of bally beds with covers over top. So that would provide a little bit of shade. But as the ship's sailing around, you really could move around the ship, and it wasn't that difficult to find shade if you needed it. So that was always an option. But you did have to watch out for the wind, because depending on what the seas were like and what the wind was doing, it could be very, very windy. Let me see what other photos I've shown you. This one, and that had these huge bally beds, as well as, let's see. Yeah, there was that one, which I showed you with the indoor, the retractable roof, and also this one on the upper deck. And you can see they're all large. Well, they're not all large chairs, but they're all cabana or bally beds around the pool and in the pool. And then at the front, you can see they've got the comfortable lounge chairs with the very cushiony cushions. And then the hot tub, of course, the jacuzzi. And what's this one? Oh, this is another picture of the pool on the upper deck, as well as this is another picture of the indoor one. So moving on to biggest towels ever. Truly, truly, truly. This was insane. Especially compared to other resorts that I've stayed at. Some of them, the towels are just downright tiny. And you really want to have more than one, so that you're not, I don't know, like, it's okay to be on the lounge chair where everybody else has been, but it's kind of nice to have a clean towel between you and said lounger. And the towels were so big. So remember I showed you, where's the best picture? This picture here. So you can see how big those bally beds are. They're basically like a double size. So 2 people can easily lay on there without feeling like they're on top of each other. And this was that other picture. And I just want to show you the guy on the left. That's one towel covering that double bally bed. So it's like you would unfold the towel, and they were all wrapped up on the chairs, as you can see just here. Oh no, not that one. Oh, where's one where they've got it laid out? Maybe here. You can kind of see. Okay, on this one, you can see there's the pillows, and then right below that, right here, there's pillows, and then beyond that is the towels all folded up. And you would unfold the towel, and it would be like a large bath-sized towel. And then you would realize that it unfolded again. And like I said, in this picture, you can see it's hanging over the top of his lounger, and it covers the entire thing, and it goes over the sides. So, and you can see as well, there's a lady on the opposite side of the pool, the far side of the pool, and I've blocked her face out, but you can see she's got a towel, and it's covering the whole bed. So the towels were absolutely massive. Another thing that was a little bit different, which I've not seen. Okay, I've seen other cruise lines have pool towels for you to take on excursions. Never have I ever seen towels like this. And I mean, why would you, when you're on vacation, take a photo of a towel? I mean, like it's just a towel, right? But what was cool about these ones is they had separate towels for excursions. So knowing that you might be laying on the beach or in a sandy area or doing an excursion where there's going to be a lot of sand and stuff like that, what was interesting is the towels seemed to have a different texture on one side, and on the top was more of a regular bath towel, and they were absolutely massive. So this is a picture of somebody who's about 6 feet tall holding the towel up above their head, and you can check out the size there. So it's about a 7 foot long towel. So it's pretty massive. Tammy, do you remember, like, am I remembering this right? Did the towels that were for the excursions, were they different on one side than the other? Am I remembering that correctly? I know we hauled our towels out to the excursion that we did in Guadeloupe, which was to go and see the filming locations for the show Death in Paradise. Um, Unfortunately, our tour guide wasn't the best, but fortunately, there were 2 tours going on at the same time, and the second group had a great tour leader. So she was actually telling people what they were looking at, which was made it interesting. And yeah, so we did take our towels for that one, but that we didn't really have any sort of. We had about an hour of beach time where we had some food and uh, rum punch, but we didn't really have swimming time. So we didn't use any of the excursion towels. But yeah, let me know what you recall. Okay, what's she saying? Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. So a bit softer on one side, great for the beach, yeah. And I think that they did that so that the sand would sort of collect in it. Um, nothing worse than tagging a bunch of sand and bringing that back on board the ship. So yeah, it was pretty cool little setup there. Okay, truly unlimited drinks. Most of the cruise lines now are. Oh, and before we go, okay, if you haven't done so yet, now is the opportunity for you to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Any comments really helps out the channel. So please, if you haven't already done so, take a moment and go ahead and do the thumbs up. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. But it just shows YouTube that you care. So thank you for that. I see a couple of likes already happening. Thank you for that. Oh, and this was the lotion. I got a close up of the lotion. It's the Mandala Blue. So that's what it looks like. It smells really nice. And as a lotion, sometimes they're a bit heavy and greasy. And I thought that the lotion lived up to the caliber of the ship for sure. So yeah. Okay, so like I said, most of the cruise lines now are moving more towards inclusive. So Princess, you can do the premium package or the premium plus package where uh, you have your alcoholic drinks included. Norwegian's been doing this for ages. Holland America has it, but it is optional. Carnival for sure. So there are drink packages out there, even with Virgin Voyages, they do a credit system. So it's a little bit different for them, but nonetheless, most of them have a drink package. However, all of them have a limit. So it's a maximum of 15 alcoholic drinks per day. And you might think, how on earth would a person even still be standing having 15 drinks over the course of the day. And here's how you can do it. So first off, let's say you get up in the morning and you decide you're going to have coffee. Well, you might want to have Kahlua or Bailey's in your coffee. So that's drink number one. Then you go for breakfast and you might decide to have a mimosa. And then the server comes around and says, would you like a refill? And you're on vacation. So that answer could be yes. That's 3 drinks already. Then you're going to go to the pool, maybe relax for a little bit, do some reading, do some swimming, might get closer to lunchtime, and you might think, hey, it's cocktail time. So you're going to have another drink there. Then it's time to go for lunch. So off you go for lunch. We generally ate at the Marketplace Emporium, which was their version of a buffet, but it's kind of like, I don't know, 18 made-to-order food stations. I have posted the buffet, that buffet video. So if you haven't already checked that out, definitely check it out because it's pretty impressive what they offer. And you can maybe have a glass of wine or 2 with lunch. And then you're going to move off, maybe you go back to the pool, maybe you go to one of the indoor areas, you're reading for a little bit, maybe play some cards, probably going to have a cocktail. And then it's time to get ready for dinner. So probably going to grab a cocktail for the room while you're getting ready. Maybe you're just going to have one of your room drinks. I don't know. Then you're going to go for dinner. Well, now that you've gotten ready for dinner, you're going to get ready to ease into dinner. Maybe you have another drink. And then going on to dinner, you're probably going to have a glass of wine or 2. Now we're up to 11 drinks so far. Maybe you go to a show, that might be a drink, maybe another one, and then maybe a nightcap before bed, and you're already up to 14. Now, where that makes it all possible is the mimosas. I mean, you're talking a glass that's that big, so it holds, what, 4 ounces of liquid, and it's going to have maybe an ounce or 2 of bubbly. And they did have real champagne on board the ship, which was pretty cool. And they had pink rosé. So, I mean, that was interesting. But you know what? They didn't keep track of the room. I mean, there's a small enough ship that the bartenders kind of got to know you. But, you know, it was just nice and relaxed to not have to worry about, you know, you're hitting your limit or something like that. I don't think we came close to hitting a 15 day. But it was just nice to know that if you were having a good time and you weren't wrecked, that if you decided you did want another glass of wine or a nightcap, that you could. And it was all premium alcohol, you know, Tito's, Grey Goose, you name it, for drinks. The only sad thing was we were really hankering for a Caesar, and that was the only thing that they didn't have. It's probably the only thing out of the whole ship that they didn't have is Clamato juice. And it was funny because the guy said that a lot of people had been asking for it. So we kind of thought once they hit one of the ports that they might get some. I will post that into the group on Facebook and find out if in later cruises that if they did add that as a juice option, because I know there's a decent amount of Canadians on board the ship, and we love our Caesars. So yeah, it's definitely would be something that was nice to have. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the food, because the food was pretty incredible. Here, I'll show you. This is the menu for appetizers. This was at Fil Rouge, which, like I said, we ate at a couple of times. And, so you can see foie gras, scallop carpaccio with caviar. We had that. Tammy had the escargot. Really enjoyed that. I don't know if anyone had the pâté. Can't recall. And then this was the mains. Oh, it's hard to see. So there's a bunch of different kinds of steaks, as well as lamb chops, different sauces, and of course, different sides available. The Frank's mashed potatoes were sort of garlicky. They were really, really nice. This is a picture of the caviar dish. So that's the scallop carpaccio with the the caviar on top. And I have had caviar before, but it was really, really nice. Of course, it did list, you'll recall, the actual type of caviar that it was. And I did look it up, and it's rather expensive. So, yeah, it was really nice. And then this was lobster thermidor from one of the meals. I think Tammy had that and quite enjoyed it. We went to the Mediterranean restaurant for a la carte lunch one day, and I had the burrata salad, the caprese salad, but it was with burrata cheese. I'll tell you what, if you have never had burrata before, or if you've had it before and you thought, it's okay, but not great, go on Explora and go on Explora and have that salad. It was incredible. I mean, melt in your mouth, smooth, creamy. It wasn't like a bocconcini. It was soft and sort of like a soft, melty cheese inside. Oh my, it was just insane. I could eat that every day of the week and twice on Sunday, honestly. And then laying by the pool, the main indoor pool area, we had little snacks come up to be delivered, fruit kebabs. And that's actually the hotel manager. His name escapes me, but it was just great to enjoy snacks just coming your way. What was this? Oh, and that was in the evening at the marketplace. Oysters on the half shell, as well as, what have we got? What's this one? Oh, yeah, and that was the unlimited wine. So we ordered wine to the room one night, 4 glasses worth. No problem at all. I'm trying to see if there's any other photos that I haven't shared with you. There was a photo that no. So in my haste to upload all my photos, it did miss a couple that I transferred over from my phone, but there were food photos. And like I said, I will include those in my food and beverage video, so stay tuned for that. But when have you ever been at a resort or on a cruise where they had, cookies at the coffee shop? Cookies are pretty standard, maybe pretzels, maybe little cakes or tarts. Do you ever see chocolate bark? And I mean, it was like they would put it on a plate, like hygiene and all. So they would scoop it and put it on a plate. But they would fill your plate. I mean, if you wanted. But it was salted dark chocolate bark, and it was divine. Another night they had, I believe it was like a caramel bark. That was also amazing. So really the food was top quality. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, when we were on board and experiencing the cruise, it literally was like you had to restrain yourself because you wanted to try everything. And what was really good is the portions weren't huge. So you really could ask for more than one main course or more than one starter without, feeling like you're going to have to roll yourself out of there. I mean, it was filling for sure. But like I said, did I explain the whole thing about the flour? So I don't think I finished that story or that thought. So with the flour, like I said, they went out as Explora Journeys, went to one of the flour makers in France, Italy, I forget which. And they basically said they wanted to have a flour that would make breads that are lighter and are less filling, because they wanted people to be able to experience it. And so they made them their own version of a flour. Oh, not their version, but they made a separate flour for them. I'm trying to see if I've got that photo handy. I most probably don't. Oh, no, I definitely don't. Okay, well, that was a nice try. But again, I will post a video of the food and drinks just so you can. No, that's not going to work. Trying to pull it together while I'm talking at the same time. Sometimes works, mostly doesn't. Yeah, the food was really, really good. I mean, there was nothing that was disappointing. Not that I can even think of. And oh, did we have pizza? Yeah, pizza was at the lunch thing. I guess if I want to be nitpicky, the only thing I'd say is the pizza that they had at the marketplace, they only had 3 kinds, and they wouldn't make a personalized pizza. So if you just wanted, salami, like pepper salami or like a pepperoni on the pizza, they wouldn't do that. It was like a Hawaiian or like a whatever it's called, with tomato and cheese margarita pizza with a red sauce or a green sauce. That was the only difference. But the food was all really, really good. So overall, is it worth it? Okay, well, so going back to my first comment about the beds being so close together, one of the things that they're doing right now for wave season, where they're trying to get as much of sales as they possibly can, is right now they are waiving the single supplement. So if you want to cruise with your cousin or your friend, Christine, Elizabeth, if you're watching, if you want to travel with somebody and you don't want to share a bed, or you don't want to be 5 inches from their face, because literally that's how far the bed was from each other. So, I mean, king size bed or 2 double beds that far apart, kind of the same thing, right? So if you did want to cruise with somebody, but you didn't want to have to pay that single supplement, normally a single in a room is going to pay the same as 2 people in a room. So there's a cost benefit to be able to share a room with somebody. You're basically splitting the cost of the cabin. What they're doing right now is they're saying if you're single, you're not paying for 2 people, you're paying for 1. So if it's $3,000 for 2 people sharing a room, and instead it's just 1 person in a room, it's still that $3,000. So there's no penalty or surcharge for having a cabin on your own. So that's pretty tempting right now. I don't know how much longer that sale is on or that promotion is on. So that's definitely something to take a look and take consideration of. But honestly, the food and drinks, the only thing that I would say out of all of this cruise, the only thing that I would say that was maybe a little bit something that people need to consider is that there's not much happening during the day. This is not a cruise where you are going to see oodles of activities, ice carving, macrame classes, bingo. There was no bingo at all on the ship. There was group trivia every day at 5. And it was team trivia. So from the very beginning, we split off into teams, and every night we would have the trivia, and he would read out the questions. And at the end, it was like, okay, this team, and every team had a name. Okay, this team, what's your score? This team, what's your score? And it wasn't like a progressive thing. It wasn't keeping track throughout the week as to the cumulative score. But it was just a fun challenge. There was some teams that they're incredibly smart. Some of the questions were very tricky, and some of the questions were very difficult, in my opinion, as was exhibited by our group score. But nonetheless, it was a lot of fun, and you got to see the same people every day. So you could kind of do a little friendly competition with them, which was a lot of fun. But not a lot of other activities going on. So is this a great cruise for people who can't really figure out how to keep themselves busy? No, this is not. Unless you've got a couple of good books that you're willing to sit and read all day long, this is probably not the cruise for you. But if you just want to relax, if you want to be able to get away, be pampered, have phenomenal food, have amazing wine choices. There was I want to say 8 kinds of red wine available and 7 kinds of white wine that were available. This is all included. 3 sparkling. I think 2 of them were champagne. 1 of them was sparkling wine. Top shelf alcohol, and amazing service. Like I said, ice bucket refilled in the cabin every day. So if you want that kind of pampering, this is a cruise for you, hands down. Not going to be disappointed. But that's worth bearing in mind, just if you're considering going on it. If you have questions and you're going on Explora and I have not answered them today, comment down below, as I will respond. I do respond to every comment, and I will try to answer your question as best I can. There are also at least 2 different Facebook groups for Explora, so you can find out more on there. And yeah, I mean, otherwise, it's pretty amazing. And Tammy and I are already talking about wanting to go again. So yeah, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. My feet right now would enjoy those heated floors. I can tell you that. And just the spaciousness of the bathroom. When you go on a regular cruise ship and it's sort of like a 3-foot corner of the bathroom toilet area that you're showering, and usually it's those icky curtains, shower curtains. No matter what you do, they always seem to like snarl around you and touch you while you're trying to get clean and shower. So gross. No, Explora, you got all the space in the world. But yeah, so that's my quick review for you, and I will do a proper review with a better B-roll. I've taken all the video. I just need to put it all together. And like I said, I will do a separate video that's going to be the food and drinks of Explora. Like I said, they didn't have Clamato, but they had everything else. They even had Strongbow cider, which was great. Sometimes a trick to find out where they were storing it. The staff on board the ship, they, generally speaking, had not come from other cruise lines. Generally, they had brought them from high-end hotels, and they wanted to show them the cruising way of life. And train them fresh on board a cruise ship, as opposed to bringing somebody who'd maybe worked for Carnival or Disney or Norwegian Cruise Lines and then have to change them and make them teach them the journey, Explora way of doing things. So there was a couple of hiccups where one guy asked him to make a cucumber mint muddled drink. It was actually on the non-alcoholic, the mocktail list. And I just said, can you add vodka to it? I mean, that's pretty straightforward and easy, right? And he didn't look happy. And then I found out that was his week 1 of being on the cruise. And that was day 2 of his first week on the cruise of his contract. So it was like, yeah, got the challenges right at the beginning for you. Yeah. So, well, what can you do? But otherwise, they tried really hard. The service was great. So, never leaving a glass unfilled, that's for sure. So I hope you've enjoyed this chat. Always great chatting with you guys. I haven't quite decided what we're going to chat about next week, but I will post that as soon as I can so that you have a chance to get ready for it, get prepped for asking questions or throwing in your 2 cents, because I always love hearing from you guys. And yeah, we're going to take it from there. If you haven't already done so, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. And thanks for tuning in today. Have yourselves a great week. Have yourselves a great rest of the day. And hopefully wherever you are, it's not too cold. Angelo, Christine, I know back east, it is getting chilly and they're expecting more snow. So hopefully you guys can avoid that at all costs. We want spring to show up. So thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week, same time as always, 10 a.m. on Wednesday, Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, or 6 p.m. British Standard if you are watching from the great UK. So thanks for tuning in, and we shall see you next week, and have yourself a great week. Bye for now.